Have you noticed how strangely quiet your house has become lately? Not because of anything dramatic, it's just that the things that used to bring it to life have slowly faded. The phone doesn't ring as often, the door doesn't open like it used to, and sometimes you sit down at the table only to face an empty chair just like yesterday, the day before, and probably the next week too. There's a question no one says out loud, but it echoes inside you like a sound without words. Is this peace or is this loneliness? You've lived long enough to understand life doesn't always need someone beside you to feel meaningful. But sometimes, even you aren't so sure anymore. And that is why I wrote this. Not to urge you to love being alone, not to cheerlead you into thinking positive, but to sit with you like an old friend and share a few things that might ease your heart even just a little. And if you have the patience to read to the end, I'll reveal a quiet truth that very few people realize, but one that could completely change how you see these years of living alone. If you're living alone and sometimes feel empty, leave a number 1. If you're about to enter that stage, leave a number 0, so we know we're not alone. And if you'd like to keep walking together through more gentle, honest, and deeply felt stories like this, please hit subscribe. I'm deeply grateful to you, and I believe there's always someone out there who just needs a warm, timely reminder. If you're living alone and sometimes feel empty, leave a number 1. If you're about to enter that stage, leave a number 0, so we know we're not alone. And if you'd like to keep walking together through more gentle, honest, and deeply felt stories like this, please hit the subscribe button. Not for me, but because there's always someone out there who might need a warm reminder at just the right moment. The quiet changes that come with age. There's a truth young people rarely think about, but older people can't avoid. Old age arrives without knocking. It doesn't come loudly. It gives no warning. It just quietly alters the little things. Your sleep becomes lighter. A short walk feels longer than before. Phone calls become fewer. And somehow the need for others doesn't feel so urgent anymore. Have you noticed you're more content with a simple meal? Have you ever laughed at yourself doing nothing all day, yet still feeling it was enough? That's not laziness, and it's not giving up. It's the sign of a soul that has learned what to keep and what to let go. Old age isn't just when the body slows down. It's when the inner voice grows louder. You no longer want to attend noisy parties. You lose interest in staying in touch with those who text you just out of obligation. You don't feel joy from shallow compliments anymore. Instead, you find peace watching the tree outside your window grow little by little. You feel joy when organizing old photos. You feel calm making a cup of tea even with no one to share it with. And perhaps in those quiet moments, you are coming closer to your truest self. But is that quite a gift or a trade-off for loneliness? Let's explore this together. What I fear most is waking up one day with no one to talk to. Have you ever thought that the truth is, many of us grow up with a near unshakable belief living alone is something to avoid? Below are 4 common illusions, and the truths behind them. Illusion number 1, you must have friends to be happy. But no one tells you, being with someone who doesn't understand you can be the loneliest thing of all. We used to believe that the more friends, the less lonely. But then we learned sometimes one silent friend is enough if they truly listen. Illusion number 2. Living alone means you failed in life. No one tells you many people live alone, not because they are unloved, but because they once loved deeply, and now they need themselves. Living alone doesn't mean no one needs you. It means you've realized that you need yourself the most. Illusion number 3, if no one checks on you, you must not matter. But since when did a person's worth depend on how many messages or greetings they get? You were once someone's anchor. You were the only one who remembered someone's birthday. You quietly brewed tea, cleaned the kitchen, offered comfort. Now you may live more quietly, but that doesn't mean you matter less. Illusion number 4, living alone is abnormal. Then why is it that in those very moments of solitude you feel most like yourself? If all those illusions were just dust on the glass, what happens when you wipe it clean? What if we looked at aging not through society's lens, but with the eyes of someone who has truly lived? It often takes us many years to finally understand the simplest truths. It's not that we slow down, it's just that some truths take time enough, years, lived enough silence, felt before they finally reveal themselves. Here are 5 such truths. Nothing new, yet no one ever taught us these early on. 1. No one truly understands you, and that's not anyone's fault. When we're young, we crave to be understood. We explain ourselves, prove ourselves, open up. But the longer we live, the more we realize no one can fully grasp what we've been through. Not even we always understand our hearts. And then one day we stop looking for someone who gets us. We just want someone to be there. No questions, no analysis, no comparisons. Just someone who can sit beside us in silence without feeling awkward. Or even if there's no one like that, we find we're peaceful enough to sit with ourselves. 2. Once close people can grow distant, and that's okay. Some people were once our whole sky, and then suddenly they become just a name in the contact list. A name we no longer feel the urge to call. There was no argument. No one was wrong. Life just quietly led us down separate paths, and we learned a priceless lesson. Not everyone who starts the journey with you will walk it to the end. That doesn't make the old memories any less beautiful. It just means we've changed. And sometimes the kindest thing we can do is to let go gently. 3. Loneliness doesn't destroy us, but running from it might. We used to fear loneliness so much that we rushed into half-hearted relationships or filled our time with empty encounters just to feel less alone. But the more we ran, the more it grew. Until one day, we stopped. We sat down and faced it. Turns out loneliness isn't as scary as we thought. It's just a mirror reflecting what we've avoided within ourselves. And when we dare to sit quietly with it, loneliness turns into stillness. 4. All noise fades. And in the end, it's just you and a cup of tea. The highs and lows, the competition, the praise and the criticism, the constant calls. Eventually, they all go quiet. In the end, what matters is not how many people loved us, but how long we can sit with ourselves without feeling empty. A quiet attic in the afternoon, the scent of tea, an old book. It may sound simple, but it's the privilege of those who've walked through enough life to appreciate it. 5. The older you get, the less you need to prove, and that is freedom. We used to crave recognition. I felt joy being called good, talented, admirable. Tried to fit into someone else's mold, but then we got tired. And when we finally let go, we felt light. No need to impress, no need to be in, no need to blend in. Just breathing in your rhythm is enough. Some truths, when we first read them, we only know. But after living long enough, we begin to feel them. And the real question is, once we know, what do we do with that knowledge? Once we understand, how does it change the way we live? Now we enter the next part, living alone, but not feeling left behind. Someone once said, not everyone who lives alone is lonely, but many who live with family feel painfully alone. The problem isn't how many people are around you. It's about the quality of connection, and that always begins within yourself. So here are a few simple, everyday ways to help you turn being alone into being at peace. 1. Redesign your living space, as if preparing to welcome a dear friend. Even if you live alone, you still deserve a space that is warm, well-lit and tidy. Hang a photo you love. Place a vase of fresh flowers. Choose a chair you sit in every morning just to enjoy your tea. Living alone does not mean living temporarily. 2. Have a quiet hour and treat it like a sacred ritual. Each day spend 15-30 minutes without the TV, phone, or news. Just you with yourself. Sit down, breathe deeply, look out the window. This is your time to return without needing to be anyone. 3. Speak less, but mean it. You don't need to keep up with 20 conversations a week. Just 1 or 2 people who truly listen and let you be heard are enough. Even a handwritten letter or a heartfelt message to an old friend can be enough. Not to get someone back, but to not lose yourself. 4. Do one small thing every day, just for you. Organize a drawer. Care for a potted plant. Listen to an old song. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Not to kill time, but to nourish the feeling that you're still alive. 5. And most importantly, always leave space for something unexpected. Maybe it's a cup of tea on the porch, even when it's a little chilly. A walk with no destination. A meal cooked just for you, even if no one's waiting. Because when you care for yourself like someone you love, life begins to treat you the same way. Many people say living alone means slowing down, but perhaps it's in slowing down that we begin to live most clearly. And that's also when the most important lessons appear. In the next part, we'll come to the most valuable lesson of all earned through a long journey. And it's also where I'll share the promised secret. There is something quietly profound that most people who've lived alone long enough eventually realize, though few ever say it out loud, that the years which seem silent with no one checking in, no one beside you, are often the very years when you become closest to yourself. No more pressure to please. No more playing the role of the capable mother, the strong husband, the thoughtful friend. No more joining conversations that no longer spark joy. You return to yourself, to the sighs you used to suppress, to memories no one else recalls but you still hold, to the small things life once brushed past in its hurry. And here's the secret I promised at the beginning. When you learn how to be alone and still feel whole from that moment on, you no longer depend on anyone else to feel happy. It's not isolation, it's not indifference. It's a very subtle, very precious kind of freedom, a freedom only understood by those who have lived through enough heartache. That freedom means you no longer need someone's approval to feel you matter. You don't need daily conversations to find life meaningful. You don't need pity because you are not to be pitied. You are not someone who yo to a place of stillness that, and then you realize what you've truly needed was never. It was a soul can wid. A silent room is no longer a haunting space. A dining table with just one bowl of rice is still if the one you with gratitude in a window facing an empty yard is still worth sitting by each morning, if the sunlight finds its way into your heart without needing anyone else to bring it in. This is what I hope you'll remember. Being alone doesn't mean you're lacking. Sometimes it means you have more than enough, more time, more peace, more clarity than you ever had before. And if you're still here, still reading these lines, I have one last thing to share, not to teach, but to quietly nod with you in mutual understanding. You've lived long enough to know not everything loud is important. Not every group of people makes you feel less alone. Presence is not measured by numbers, but by truth. And sometimes the one presence you need most is your own. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. Maybe we don't know each other. Maybe we've never met. But if you've come this far, please believe this. You are not invisible. You are seen. If you've ever had a completely silent day and felt lighter instead of heavier, leave a number 1. If silence still unsettles you, leave a number 0. Because someone else is reading this too, and they need to know that they are not alone. And if this message touched something inside you, a memory, a quiet thought, a forgotten corner of your heart, please hit the subscribe button. Not for me, but so that each week you'll have one peaceful afternoon to simply sit down, no noise, no rush, just a quiet voice and a cup of tea meant only for you. Life doesn't end when we begin living alone. That's when we finally begin to live truly with ourselves.